Scott from 106.1 Kiss FM here with today's big episode of Post to Post. And listen, I apologize if this episode is a little bit lackluster today because for the first time in, probably like 2 years, I'm going to fly solo doing one of these. But thankfully, there's stuff to talk about in today's episode. Now, I do have predictions for Night of Champions today, as well as a very brief Smackdown recap. I didn't have a ton of notes from Smackdown Live, but I watched it yesterday and I did take my notes. Jerry's in the Magic Kingdom. All of my wrestling fans in the radio station are doing a golf outing today. Let me fix my camera shot real quick if you don't mind. I apologize for doing this here on the fly. That's a little bit better. And it's just going to be me today. So bear with me while I do this solo. I really prefer having someone to bounce my ideas off of, to have agreements and disagreements with. Like I said, I do have predictions for you, as well as earlier this morning, just a few minutes ago, Jerry Valeri texted me his predictions for people who keep score with that. He is currently the champion. I won the SummerSlam predictions episode. He won the Backlash predictions episode. So he has the lock, the magic locking in lock, but I've got some predictions here coming up for him in just a few minutes. Let's talk about Smackdown. Not a huge episode, although I did have a few things jump out at me. Let's talk about at the very beginning. I did think it was weird that they were hyping so vehemently a contract signing for a women's title match. I can't recall a time in history that that's really happened. Although at the beginning when I made this note, I thought they were hyping this up for like a main event segment. They weren't. It actually happened to be that next segment, so that made more sense. I'm not sure we need contract signings much at all, let alone for a women's title match. But I did think that the two women involved did a very good job in that contract signing segment. So kudos to them. I thought, in my opinion, what did you have? You had Becky Lynch and Alexa Bliss. I thought they, people who not always known for doing good promo work, did a pretty good job with that stuff on Tuesday night. What else did I take from? Oh my goodness, this one. So I know that I've been very critical about the commentary, and I do believe commentary is such a problem on the shows right now. I almost wish they'd resort to a two-man team as opposed to these three-man teams, because literally you've got three good commentators and you've got three garbage commentators, in my opinion. Here's like the rank, I guess not the ranking, but you've got your three good ones. You've got Michael Cole, you've got Mauro Ranallo, and JBL, again, in no particular order. And then you've got three that either need some work or should not be there. And that would be Corey Graves, David Otunga, and Byron Saxton. To me, are not dynamic personalities enough to be in that seat for 2 hours to 3 hours, if not more sometimes, every single Monday or Tuesday night. Otunga, I don't know if this was his fault or where he was trying to go with this, but during that opening contest, the tag team match between the Usos and American Alpha, Otunga is trying desperately to name drop Adam Sandler and Rikishi over and over again. I guess Otunga is part of some upcoming Adam Sandler movie that Rikishi's in too. And I don't know if he was getting cut off by other commentators or what, but he tried like 3 or 4 times to get this story out, and his story had no payoff. That it just sounded like, you know, when you've got like a friend who met a famous person and they're like always like, you know, reminding you about that one time or something. It's just like David Otunga, I thought, came off so annoying, just reminding us about yes, we get it. You're in an Adam Sandler movie. Why are you reminding us 4 times in one match? And then I guess the payoff was he talked to Rikishi about the Usos' attitude change, but offered no inside scoop about it. And I just thought it made him look incredibly silly, in my opinion. And then the only other note I took about SmackDown had to do with Cena doing a clean job to Dean Ambrose later in the night. I read a statistic. I can't believe this is true. I'm assuming it is, that this was John Cena, his first loss on Raw or SmackDown in 7 years, since 2009 in a bout with Triple H. If that is a true statistic, that is absolutely remarkable. I don't know if it's true or not, but I'm assuming, since I mean, usually my sources are pretty credible. I use the internet like everybody else does. And my goodness, that's remarkable. Probably long overdue. I mean, you can suffer a loss every couple of years or so, Cena. But again, that was it did feel pretty impactful when Ambrose beat Cena last night, or I guess I should say Tuesday night on Smackdown. It was last night for me because that's when I watched it. All right, and then let's quickly, there's no need to drag this out. Let's jump into the pay-per-view. And let me see what I've got here. Like I said, I've got notes scattered all over the place. Like I said, I apologize. This episode may be a little dry. Jerry's in Florida. I will be back with him on Monday. We'll recap Clash of Champions. He'll be back then. So I am going to fly solo this time. I've made predictions. Jerry's made predictions. We made our predictions independently. And here's what I've got for you. So why don't we work our way up? The pre-show match is going to be Alicia Fox taking on Nia Jax. And Jerry says Nia Jax is going to win. I agree. I feel like Nia Jax is actually, I know a lot of people disagree with me. I think she has potential to do some pretty big things personally. And while she hasn't done great things yet, I think that she's capable of big things. I think she's got a unique look, which, by the way, I love. They don't all need to be drop dead sexy divas, and the guys don't all have to be rock hard bodybuilder types. That's why I love Kevin Owens being champion, among other reasons. Nia Jax does not look like the prototypical WWE diva or wrestler that we've come to know, and I like that. I think that she has a future in front of her, and I don't think that they're going to derail this, even though she does not have any high-profile wins yet. One over Alicia Fox, even if it is on the pre-show of Clash of Champions on Sunday, I think will mean more for her than it would for Alicia Fox. So that's where I'm going with that one personally. Jerry agrees, and no disagreements thus far. The second match that we have listed, I don't know what the order is going to be, is Sami Zayn taking on Chris Jericho. And by the way, this whole card I found to be very difficult to predict personally. I don't know if Jerry had that experience or not, but I found it to be very difficult. Wrestled back and forth, was changing answers again up until this morning, just because this pay-per-view, I think, feels more like a restart in a way like Backlash did. SummerSlam to me felt like an ending, and these two pay-per-views seem like they're like new era pay-per-views as opposed to last era pay-per-views. So you kind of have to figure out not only where do they want to go, but how do they want to start things? And that's more difficult to me to settle upon. So I feel like Sami Zayn has suffered some very high-profile losses lately, and another one like this would really damage him. Chris Jericho, on the other hand, is having a bullet, a great career. He's got a rocket attached to his back, but not in the win-loss sense. He's just getting over. People are enjoying his work. And I think that a win here is going to mean less to him. It won't be detrimental or devastating, at least, like it would be to Sami Zayn. I feel like there's a lot of people who still need to be won over by Sami Zayn. I know this show is geared towards the knowledgeable wrestling fan. You know, I'll say that knowledgeable 5% who kind of know what's going on, and we watch it with a more with a different lens than I think 95% of the crowd in the buildings do. People like Steve, even, who is an educated fan, aren't won over by Sami Zayn yet. And then there's me, and I think he's a very talented worker, but still has a lot of work to do, especially on the microphone. I think he needs a big win right now to show people what he's capable of. So I'm going to say they're foolish to not have Sami go over clean here, in my opinion. But I don't say that with a lot of confidence. Jerry believes Chris Jericho is going to win with a cheat. He thinks Sami Zayn's going to be cheated out of this one, which, I mean, I don't know. I think it's a really bad time to have Sami Zayn do anything other than win right now, in my opinion. TJ Perkins defending the Cruiserweight Championship against Brian Kendrick. TJ Perkins won the title last Wednesday at the Cruiserweight Classic. They had 4 guys fight it out on Monday to determine who the number 1 contender would be. And we haven't even seen TJ Perkins on the show to defend his... Oh, wait a minute. Hold on a second. I take that part back. I'm thinking I've got my brain scrambled here. I'm sorry. I've got all these notes in front of me. But I do think... wait a minute. No, I think I'm right about that. TJ Perkins was not on... We haven't seen him on Raw yet. Someone correct me if I'm wrong, but he was not one of those 4 competitors. I admit you had Kendrick, who won. You had Grand Metalik. Yeah, TJ Perkins, I don't think was in that match. I apologize if I'm wrong here. Like I said, I watch a lot of wrestling, and I if I got something mixed up here, but TJ Perkins, I think it would be very foolish to have the Cruiserweight Championship debut the way it did, and then in his first match on the main roster lose to Brian Kendrick. Plus, Brian Kendrick is a guy who's kind of known for making people better and putting people over. So I think that's why they had him win on Monday, is to establish TJ Perkins as a champion, a very legitimate contender. Steve's weighing in. Thanks, Steve. I was hoping that was you. Yeah, he has not been on the main roster yet. So thank you, Steve. That's what I thought. I'm sorry. Sometimes I look at my stuff here and then I second guess myself and I get very sketchy. Thanks for watching, Steve, and for weighing in on that. So I do think it would be a mistake to have the title change so soon. Like even before it even has a lineage, to change it would be foolish. I feel very confident Perkins will win cleanly over Brian Kendrick. Jerry agrees. Jerry says TJ Perkins going to win on Sunday as well. All right, so then came Cesaro and Sheamus, and I actually wanted to change my opinion on this early on, but then I went back. So last month when they announced the Best of 7 series, everyone seemed to agree that Sheamus is going to go up with a big lead. I don't think many people thought it'd be 3-0, but it was. And then we all seemed to agree that Cesaro was going to come back and win. And if I sit down and I'm writing the show, I feel like they might want Sheamus to really get that heel heat on Sunday to kind of remind us who he is and what he's capable of. So I wanted to kind of switch, but I don't want to avert course so drastically because it's going exactly the way I said it would. And I don't want to take it off course. So while I used to be confident that Cesaro would win round 7, I now am just marginally convinced that Cesaro is going to win round 7 on Sunday. I'm hoping that goes on to be the best of these matches because I feel like we've all been a little disappointed with these. I don't know what we were expecting. I know Jerry said he fell asleep writing the comment that Cesaro would win. Something about these two, maybe it's because it's been 7 weeks. If not more. Or maybe it's because there haven't been outstanding matches, which Cesaro is usually delivering. I feel like they need to make it very exciting. And like I said, without confidence, I'm going with Cesaro. Jerry agrees and also is sticking with Cesaro. There's going to be a tag team title defense. New Day defending against Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson. Gallows and Anderson, I feel like, are on fire. And the New Day has been tag team champions for over a year. And I know that a few times in the past, Jerry has predicted New Day's title reign ending. And he believes this will be the week that it happens. I also think this will be the week that it happens. The reason I said they weren't going to lose the title last week, and really, last month, or whenever, I guess I should say SummerSlam, which was last month. The reason I didn't think that they would lose to the club is because I felt like there wasn't enough there yet. I thought that they could get there to make us really not want to see the club as champions. I don't know if they're still calling them club or not, but I'm going to call them the club today. And now I feel like you've had enough good stuff happen between these two groups that there is enough traction to justify a title change now and make it mean something. And I actually think Gallows and Anderson will make a good group of heel tag team champions. When you watch that revolving door type promo, which I loathe on Raw, when everyone does their quick little promos and then they let the next team talk. That happened on Monday, but it reminded us how strong their tag team division is on Raw. I can't imagine. I wish they would still combine the tag team division and make them all on one show, but that's not what they're doing. There's a host of good baby faces that can go in here and work with Gallows and Anderson, who are now a very strong heel team. So I agree with Jerry, and I do think that we will see, for the first time in over a year, new tag team champions on Raw. So that's my thought there. Jerry and I agree. Then comes the women's championship match. This one also gave me a hard time. In fact, this was the very last one I filled out because I just kept leaving it blank. My gut instinct was to say Charlotte, and the reason is because she's got a lot going on, and there was a recent title change right after SummerSlam with Sasha losing to Charlotte being a champion. It felt almost silly to get. I thought that was such a bad move given the hot streak that Sasha was on. I feel like Sasha was really escalating this title and making it something really, really valuable. Not that Charlotte isn't, but I feel like Sasha had something special going on, and then they gave it right back to Charlotte. And now that Sasha is back from injury, that's not enough of a reason to just give it back to her. But I feel like with that hot streak she was on, how hot it was, and that I feel like they just kind of gave it to Charlotte because they thought that Sasha's injury was going to be a little bit longer. And then you combine these other elements, like, okay, so I do feel like Dana Brooke will try to help Charlotte and slip on the banana peel or whatever and wind up costing Charlotte the match. That doesn't mean that Bayley can't do it. I really hope they don't. Bayley is a fantastic worker who has a huge future in front of her, but I really would like her first title run to come after some sort of chase. Not this millennial way that I've been down on lately. We don't need to have these guys come up and immediately be the champions. I resented it a little bit when it happened to Finn Balor. I know a lot of people don't agree with me for that, but this is the modern way of doing things. And I think you can also do things the old way. And if anyone's been putting their time and effort in to have a fruitful career, it's been a character like Bayley, who's been on NXT for probably longer than she needed to be. And I feel like they would do her a disservice by giving her the title this weekend. Let her be involved in a really story-driven, character-driven angle. Let her flesh something out and do some great things, as opposed to just winning on Sunday without a whole lot of hoopla, my opinion. I'm going with Sasha Banks. Jerry also picks Sasha Banks. I don't have his reasoning. He just says Sasha. Again, we agree. So far, Jerry and I have only disagreed on the Chris Jericho Sami Zayn match. Two more matches to talk about before I'll wrap the broadcast up. Rusev defends his U.S. title against Roman Reigns. This one also not easy. Jerry chose Roman Reigns, and I agree. And my only hesitation is that I want to make sure they're done with Roman Reigns in the main event picture with Kevin Owens. I'm not positive of that, and that's where I'm hesitant. But I feel like they want to keep him really, really hot. And Steve might be happy to hear this part. I think this is a great spot for him. I don't mind Rusev in spots like this. I don't think he's cut to be world champion. I think he's very cut to be the second rung champion, the U.S. champion in Raw's case. I think it's a very good spot for him, and this feud has done him huge favors. I've been very into it, and I do see a title change happening on Sunday. And I won't even be upset about it if it happens. I don't mind Rusev. I don't mind Roman Reigns here. This is where I like Cena too. Sometimes this is just where people go. That is not necessarily an insult to these guys. It's just where I like them. You know, just like there's some people who don't need to be outside of that Intercontinental title range. Like my favorite championship run like ever was one of like Shawn Michaels' Intercontinental Championship runs. Bret Hart, Mr. Perfect, all around that time in the early 90s to mid 90s. That's my favorite belt of all time, that second rung title. And second rung sounds demeaning. I don't mean it to be. And I think that Roman Reigns could make some positive contributions to it. So And then there's the main event. Kevin Owens defending his Universal Championship against Seth Rollins. And Jerry chooses Kevin Owens. And I'll be honest with you, this is one I did not need to put a lot of thought into. I think it would be incredibly dumb and extremely unlikely to bet against Kevin Owens on Sunday. He's caught fire. I think that they had pretty good expectations for him. They didn't plan on giving him the belt as early as it did. That was obviously a result of Finn Balor's injury. But I think that Owens is exceeding not only fans' expectations of what he was capable to do as champion, but also people in the back, the decision makers, the writers, I think are very impressed with the Kevin Owens show. And I don't see that ending on Sunday. I don't have much more to say about that particular match. That's one I feel pretty confident about. So yeah, I either feel confident about all my picks or unconfident, like Owens, confident. Reigns, not so confident. Sasha Banks, not so confident. New Day and Gallows and Anderson, no, I don't feel confident. Cesaro, I don't feel confident about. TJ Perkins, I feel pretty confident about. Nia Jax, I feel pretty confident about. Sami Zayn and Chris Jericho, I don't know about that one either. So let me know what you think. Thank you for watching. I know this one was a little bit more vanilla than I like to keep it. Like I said, it's only going to be one episode because Jerry's going to be back on Monday. We will recap the show at that point in time. Thanks so much for tuning in. And I don't have anyone else to thank today. So I guess thanks, Steve, for it. I know you're one of the viewers watching because you commented, and I appreciate the help there. Thanks, Jerry, for texting me your results from the Magic Kingdom of in Orlando. And I'll be back again with Jerry on Monday for another live edition of Post to Post.